Cool. We're recording.
Sounds good.
So let's talk about the awesome trade we caught today, because that was actually pretty sick. Let me open up my trading view.
Yeah,
Um,
let's see it.
you passed an eval, I passed another eval. Life is just good. So
It really is.
okay, so I hopped onto NQ. Dude, it's still running. And my other market I closed at, what was it? 21R or something on my other account.
Yeah, I read that in the chat. That's
Yeah,
so dope.
21R. Um, I think I got stopped out by this wick or something, but if I jump down to the 5 minute, my Val trade I closed
I
at
can't see
around.
your screen.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. I can't see your screen.
Oh shit, I haven't started sharing. I'm so sorry. I always
No, you're
forget to
good.
do that.
No
I gotta
worries.
go here. All right, we're chilling. So,
Yeah, for good.
yeah, ran 21. I got stopped out up here for my other one. And then for the valuation, I had to close exactly as I hit like 4RR or something. Otherwise, I'd break the consistency rule. So, like right here, I closed and I passed the
Oh,
account.
okay.
Because otherwise, if you have a trade that makes up for more than 50% of the gains, and this would like make me, on the other account, it made like 17 grand. So this would have made me like 10 times the amount that I was supposed to, and I would have failed the account. So I just closed it. And you can see right here, if I would have made another $300, I would have failed the account. So I just barely exited at the right time. Otherwise, I would
Oh,
have
no.
had to, like, imagine your system is so good that you have to downgrade your rules to degrade them just so you can pass an eval. Like, that's kind of crazy.
I mean, that makes me laugh, honestly.
Yeah. So other
That's
markets
so fun.
you can see here on my right, these are the markets I was looking at this morning, and you can see kind of entries that I outlined, but they weren't very good. So if we do a quick little market analysis of the markets I was looking at, whatever the
Okay.
hell this is, Dow Jones. And there was an okay entry here, but it was very, very weak. You can see there was no strength moving from the MAs, just kind of sideways. And as you jump down to the 20 minute, you can see a little bit of the wickiness shining through. Giant wick here,
Right.
like what the hell is this? And there wasn't news or anything, so that kind of drew me away. And then this was your only entry. It would have been a break even if I would have gotten involved, because it goes, then you break even, and then maybe even a partial. No. Yeah, just a break even on this trade. So then the other market I was looking at, I hop onto this market and I just saw it and I'm like, I didn't take anything on this market, but I think it was one of the ones I sent out that I was looking at. And it didn't meet my criteria to get involved in this market. Look at how weak this is. Look at how bad sideways it was going. Like, it just
Oh, yeah.
really didn't have too much movement to it. And so I was thinking an entry through here wouldn't be too bad, but even if I would have taken it, it would have been a break even regardless. So awesome. I didn't end up taking this, but it still would have been an okay trade. Like, I wouldn't be too far against it. It's just I don't like the price delivery on this. You can just very clearly see. And then the other market was Russell. This one I should have taken an entry on, but I was a little caught up in other stuff. So looking at the 4 hour, we got this very nice delivery. And then as soon as I woke up, I saw this. The only reason I didn't take it was actually a couple reasons. Wickiness, wick. But
Right.
you had two entries. You had an entry over this high, which I wouldn't have taken, but I would have taken entry over this high. But I just, once again, didn't have the time. I was out of the house, so I was just like, it's whatever. So currently on that, you'd probably be up, probably not a lot. ATR stop is 4.6. So my low would have been somewhere around here. Yeah, so I'd just still be break even on this move, or a potential partial to 70%. So nothing crazy on that. But this was a very nice runner. I woke up in the morning, jumped to the 20
Yeah.
minute, and immediately my indicator was green. I looked at everything and I'm like, I like this high. Like, you can just see the strength. It's not the first strength
Yeah.
candle into the market, it's the second one. Demand has proven itself before several times. So I'm just like, if this is gonna go, now's the time. And lo and behold, I took my buy stop. Low was at ATR. So my ATR at this time was like 15 and my stop was 10, a little lower than that. And then I took my entry and it just went. Right here I exited because it started getting a little too powerful. And then
Yeah.
currently it's at like 23R or something. So I exited on my live accounts down up here, and then for my val somewhere like right here. And then
That's awesome.
I was also looking at this market. So it's the same thing as the corn that I showed you earlier, but it's just the micros, because the contract sizes are way too big. Nothing to do here. Wheat, I was looking at this market to continue following it. I was anticipating that this trend would continue in some fashion like this, and it just fell down, so I'm not even going to look at it anymore. And then soybeans, Yeah, I was same thing. I was anticipating that it'd continue this trend. It just fell down, and I'm no longer looking at this market. Oil. I was looking at oil a few days ago. I took a -1 here somewhere. Yeah, all the way back here. So I kind of stopped looking at it as we chopped around, but now it seems like we might, it is a Friday and we're coming into a couple hours in market close, so there is potential here. I do like this. We're putting in demand validations right now as we speak. If we look at the daily, we have a high target somewhere right around here, but it is chopping quite a bit. So I could see this like make a small move and then collapse again, but the 4-hour is setting up. The hourly is also setting up a little low in the range. Like you can see our range bound market, something like this, which I'm not a fan of. But if you step down to the 20-minute, we might actually be looking at an entry here pretty soon. If we baseline and then set up again, I'm actually going to add this to the watch list. And I'm going to see if I should be looking at the micros or the regular contracts. So if I'm doing something like this and we have a contract size. So this is the hardest thing with the algorithm that I'm building out is contract sizing, because I'd have to go here and I have to calculate my lot size, and contract sizes are 1,000 on this asset. And so if I want to open up, yeah, so I'd actually be dealing with the micros, I believe, micro oil. So now I jump down to the micro oil because the contract sizes are way too big, and the contract sizes on micro oil are 100 instead of whatever the other ones were, 1,000. So now,
Right.
or 5,000, my bad. So now with the micro oils, you're dealing with contract sizes of 100, and now I'm taking like an average SL. How many contracts would I open? Like 0.15? Is that plausible? No. Like if I want to risk 0.5%, I'd have to open up 10 units. Actually, yeah, this is perfect. So I'd be dealing with the micros instead of the macros or the larger contracts. So I just move it out the way. And you have to do this. And the hardest thing about this algorithm thing that I'm building out is fetching the data to know what contract sizes you're working with, because this entire thing is based off of liquidity in the market. And if you don't know your contract size, you're going to really mess up, because you're going to open up the wrong contract, or it's going to tell you the market is liquid when it really isn't. And if you go and look at my indicator and you turn it on during those more like weird calculated assets like your USD, you're going to see it's all going to be green or red. Like it's not valid here because the contract sizes are based out of 100,000 instead of 1 or 10, right? So we're working on fixing that today. Hopefully after this call, I'll be able to maybe roll out some new updates and whatnot. But some currency pairs are really bad, like USD JPY, I believe, or Euro JPY, just because of the way the contracts are formulated. But you go to any regular asset, futures-wise, where your contract size is, what's the contract size on this thing? I think it's just 1. 5. So that's not bad. It's just, it can get a little iffy. So I'll be tweaking around with that, and it'll get a lot more refined. You can see right now we still have some discrepancies here and there, but as soon as we adjust the contract sizes, everything should really, really stabilize, because now it's based off of the specific asset you're trading, not a generalized form that fits all the assets, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
I don't know. There's a lot to it, man.
it
So,
sounds complicated, but it looks awesome. I was watching your
dude,
video on
last
the whole
night
thing.
I was working on that thing for about 4 hours trying to diagnose this problem, and we got absolutely nowhere. So today,
Oh,
my team and I are getting together and we're gonna do a full in-depth analysis, breaking every component down. Because another thing we were having problems with is we created another subset module that goes attached to this, which it actually scans what market you're on and then evaluates contract sizes and all these different metrics on it. But it turns out that the way the data was coming in, the data feed was actually, it had some special characters in it, so it kept messing everything up. It was a whole disaster. And then like right here, our ATR is actually being calculated incorrectly. That's why I have my ATR down here right now for live market. So our ATR should be 152, but this ATR is being calculated off the validation time frame, and it shouldn't be. This should be your entry time frame validation. So if I were to jump up to 20-minute, then it'll be accurate. Or I don't even know what MA we use. I think we use like a 12 or 14 SMA or something. So 80, I don't know. And then the contract sizing is different. It's a whole thing, bro. So don't worry about it. But all you need to know is that it's gonna be fixed here pretty soon. I just throw on some like random ATR EMAs that I'd like to look at, and I've been testing with different things, so I'm gonna figure out how to really, really optimize everything. But yeah, markets have been good. This market, YM, there was another potential long opportunity over this high. What time is it? If I turn on the indicator, we can see if it's a liquid session, which we know it is, hopefully. Yep. So we should expect to see some nice move out of this, because if you notice, every time it turns green, to some extent, you get the beginning of the strong push. And so if anything, we could expect something similar to this move, or,
Okay.
you know,
Oh,
you can just kind of predict. So looking at the 4 hour, I'm gonna actually turn it off. And then I'm going to find a different way to display the data nicer, because I'm not a big fan of the big red and green background. It's just a little annoying. So, but yeah,
okay.
there's a valid entry over this high, which personally I wouldn't take given the volatility in these last few candles. And then on top of that, a new setup is forming over this high. So if we get something clean there, I might consider looking at that. But it is a Friday and
For
market close is coming up, so maybe not.
for you, I'm curious, when you look at your validation time frame and you're looking for strength or demand being formed, is it just clear candles
Is it
that you're looking for,
is it just
or
clear
what do you
what?
look for? Clear candles that you're looking for, or what do you look for when you see a demand that you're happy with before you go to the 5 minute?
So the very, very first thing I look at is past price. I take a peek at this and I'm like, okay, was there strength that was sustained in this market? Was money capable of supporting the move? And if I see yes, 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 and I see these small, strong moves that continue this trend, then I know that on this relapse, the moment strength comes in, statistically speaking, from my testing, because I've done a lot of testing on this, it's going to support the move. Versus if you go back here to another market condition. So that's like the very, very first thing I look at. Versus when you go back here to a market condition where it's kind of shit and it's probably going to be marked red by the indicator, and you go back here and you got entries here. I'm not going to lie. This is an entry, a very weak one. This is an entry. This is an entry. But why didn't I take any of these? It's because nothing supported the move here. Like if you look at the previous price action versus the new price action, there's entries in here. There certainly are,
Right.
but you realize that money wasn't behind the move. And that's the very, very first thing I look at when I get involved in a market is how did money come in and did it support the move? As soon as you see a market condition like this and then it falls back down, it's not falling back down to, of course, break down and distribute. It's coming back down to reaccumulate and then build back up positions. So you're almost certain that you're increasing your probability statistic of this continuing with this in mind. So that's the very first thing I look
Okay.
at. The second thing I look at is how did price deliver, not just the strength behind it, but I look at the most recent candles and I see the wickiness. Like there's a reason why I didn't trade this market this morning. And it's wick, 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 wick. And even a wick right here. So this giant wick on the very top, what I have learned signifies a lot of hang on, let me delete this. This wick right here so I can highlight it for you. This wick right here shows a lot of selling pressure that came in all of a sudden. And this induces a lot of volatility in the market or unpredictability. And I've learned that whenever you get giant moves like these or candles like these, where you have your giant wick up here, it makes the
Yeah.
market that much more unpredictable to you. So I just prefer to wait for something clean. And then when you go and look at for something that I bought up today, which was in Q, you didn't get that uncertainty. You didn't get giant wicks above. Giant wicks below, I make an exception for because it shows extreme buying pressure. Now, if you have wicks on both sides, that's a very big, hey, kind of be caution kind of thing. And
Mhm.
given the other thing, so point three is I do not enter on the first strength validation candle. What I mean by that is this is not a valid entry. This is the first strength candle that came in after a very bad market. So I want the market to prove itself. I want it to come back down like it did all the way down here. And then the amount of money that it's going to take to fill this gap and then go this much higher is such incredible amount of confirmation for me, like so much confluence that is telling me this market just wants to explode. And that's what it did.
Okay.
A little too far,
Okay.
actually. Shit,
I
we're
was actually
still.
wondering when I was watching your videos, and I'm watching NQ on my screen too, and I was just kind of wondering, I'm like, are you ever gonna stop or
Yeah, no, I
um
on my evaluation account, I was just like, fuck, bro. Like,
I,
you know? So
yeah,
what are you working with? What firm? Apex?
Apex.
Yeah.
I passed my thing with Apex, but I think I'm gonna go back to Top Step because I really do want to work with them. I like their payout policy a lot more.
Oh yeah, yeah. No, I very very quickly moved away from Top Step or Apex for a
Uh,
lot of reasons, bro. A lot of reasons. Number one, if you go on Google and you look up like Apex not paying out, you have all these super angry people that don't get paid out, and then they make all these excuses for not paying you out. And Apex is one of
right.
those newer ones where they don't have the reputation yet to uphold, and so if they go bankrupt, they don't really care.
Okay,
Versus
gotcha.
any other company like Top Step that has a reputation to uphold, there's going to be they're not going to want to be shady. So, going off of that point, another thing that Apex does that a lot of people don't know, I went through and read all the rules, so I'm pretty familiar with them. But they have
Okay.
something where they calculate your balance or equity. In this case, it would be balance um, at the end of every trade, I believe, and Top Step does it at the end of every day. So the thing is that your maximum drawdown doesn't move up until the end of day versus at the end of every trade. And that's a very big thing for me because sometimes I'll go on some big drawdowns and then the very next trade I get is a 10-hour runner. And so by that point on Apex, you would have already lost your account. But on Top Step, your balance isn't calculated until end of day, which is
Um,
something I love. And then another thing is on Apex, if you make a high and then it comes down, that amount that it came down during your evaluation phase, your like if I draw out your equity curve, it's on their website. But if you go up, this is like updating live, and then your price for some reason retraces and breaks you even, your maximum
yeah.
loss is going to move up by that amount. And it's actually really scary because it makes it so prone for people to lose accounts and then they don't even know why. And with Top Step, they don't calculate that, I believe, until the end of your trade or end of day. So if I were to take a break even and then I get a giant winner, that maximum drawdown isn't going to be calculated until end of day. So I think it's important to really go through and read the rules because they don't want to pay people out. That's the honest truth. They like to keep all the earnings.
Okay. Okay. No, that's good to know. That's good to know. Maybe I'll just try with Top Step next week again.
It's good. I've been with them for a while. I also have like 5 accounts with Mint funding, but I don't trade them because their interface is very weird and suspicious and kind of like janky. And I don't want to
Uh,
go through and calculate position sizes and all this shit. So I think what I'm going to
right.
do is once I update this indicator, I'll get back onto Mint funding and I'll just use the value I'm given here, number of contracts to open, and then I just go in there, type it, and then I just kind of leave because I hate their whole risk calculation thing, and then sometimes you're on the wrong asset, so you have to go to the micros or I don't
Yeah.
know. It's just not for me. And so this integration with Tradeovate and TradingView is so phenomenal because I just come in here, set up my sell stop, whatever it might be, click here, create order, and it sends it straight to my broker. That's another amazing thing about I don't think Apex does that, but I might be mistaken. Um, I don't know if Apex has a integration with TradingView or not.
They do. That's how I trade. I just trade through Tradeovate through TradingView.
Okay.
Just like how you're doing it right now on your screen through Top Step.
Okay. Yeah, yeah. I think I remember. It's
But
just
they have. I mean, I tried Top Step X also, and you can there are benefits. Like I think there are certain things like no commissions, or you can use more contracts or things like that. But it's just learning another software, learning how to put in orders correctly and on time and all that stuff. When I'm just used to trading view, I guess. So
TradingView is
it's always
amazing,
easier.
man.
It,
I, I
yeah, it's always
got
just easier to just like enter right on the screen.
I just recently paid the 700 something for the year, and I just realized
Yeah.
Thanksgiving or Black Friday is coming up, and I'm just like, shit, I paid so much extra for nothing, but it's all
That's
good.
I did that 2 years ago, and then last year I did the Black Friday thing, and now I'm waiting to renew in like a week or two or whatever, whenever the deal comes.
Get the extra discount with me. I don't know if you saw, but um,
I saw that you're doing that now with your last video.
yeah, yeah. So I got affiliated with TradingView and FX Replay, and so I think they're gonna throw on an extra little discount in there, so you'll get the 70% off plus whatever deal they give our team. So that's really cool.
Oh, That's awesome.
So if we look at oil right now, it's actually setting up quite nicely. Um,
Yeah.
I'm gonna take another step back and look at it again. Yeah, in the long run, this is probably gonna crash back down at some point, but you might still get a nice little runner from this. Because this is one of those like anticipatory. If I go into my indicators and I show you a little secret sauce that I have this AI tool, which is an anticipatory validation candle. And
Oh,
so
okay.
this is telling me that if price were to move this amount, let me change the MA color so you can, I'm gonna color it pink or something, red, so you
Yeah.
can see what it's doing. So if it's telling me if this candle were to move this amount, this is what our MA would look like. And it's using all these prediction models, and it's pretty accurate for the most part. You can kind of see here. I don't know if you can see like the shell of these candles, but it's using mathematical calculations to predict where the next candle is going to close at, or the next few candles. And so if we take this candle, for example, and we draw out the
Yeah.
high, and you can see the indicator, it's a little black. It's very hidden, but you can see like the outline. You know that within the next few candles, this is going to close at this high, and look at where it closed at some point. And so what this is telling me is within a move of that strength, your validation is going to be valid to take along over this high. So that's where you can calculate the probability of you getting a valid anticipatory validation candle. But this is a little bit more complex, and I don't want to throw it at you guys because it's something that's super, super specific to my system. And I feel like it would confuse a lot of people because it's just a little bit more advanced. Like you really need to know what you're doing to understand what this is even saying. Um, so like even right now, I can look at it with my eyes and say I don't want to trade here. It's a little too
Right.
far up. I want to see it come back down. And this is updating live as well. Like this is the coolest fucking system ever, bro.
I
uh,
know. I'm just like kind of blown away watching you go through all your tools, dude.
yeah, and refining them. That's the fun part, dude. Like going through, figuring out what leads to what, and going through years of data has just like brought everything back, and it's just like holy shit, like all the thousands of hundreds of thousands of trades that I collected over the years are now coming back to really help me out. So
Yeah, I mean that's awesome.
yeah, I want to see, we'll take a quick glance at all the markets. I think I still have a few minutes, and if you want we can continue some sort of back test or something, just the time we have remaining. But
Okay, yeah, that'd be cool.
4 hour on YM, I think we said we were looking at longs, but the market
Mhm.
is a little volatile. So the only long I see is over this high. If you're a fucking crackhead, sure, go for it. But I am not. Looking at the 4 hour on Russell, whatever the hell this market is, I promise you I don't know what any of these markets are, but you know, I can make money
I
on them.
I
So
never trade the Russell or like the JPN 225 or whatever that is. Like I just trade NAS and
it's
gold and
got some
oil.
nice moves in it. Like if I don't know if my indicator works on this asset. No, not really. What's the contract sizing on this? Yeah. So our contract sizing is off by a factor of 50. So it works, but it's very generalized. Like it'll catch the big moves, and then like if I jump down to the 20, it'll be a lot more accurate. You can see general
Okay.
moves up and then just kind of flat lines, general moves up, flat lines, general moves up, flat lines. Like this is pretty accurate for what we have right now. Now imagine we fit this to the contract sizing, and then like shit, this is gonna be really, really good. But
It's just so smart to have an indicator that shows when money comes into the market. That's awesome.
yeah, and it's reflect, like you can just see it. The moment it turns green, you take your very first long and it just runs. I was looking at the entry
Yeah.
this morning I told you about, but I missed it, bro. I should have been on the market for that because this might, we still have enough time that we might see a little run like this, and that'll get you 5, 10 RR or something. But yep, so we missed that market, which is okay. I'm gonna go take a peek at it again, close this. So on the 4 hour, good, hourly, good, 20 minute. You could get another potential reset up if we get a little bit more strength out of this candle. I'd wait for this candle in 10 minutes to close. So if anything, set like a 10-minute timer, wait for it to close somewhere around here, and then you have a valid buy stop here. But it'd be
Okay.
one of those anticipatory validation candles because these are the regular 2 MAs. I'm gonna color this other MA like pink or something because this isn't a real MA that I use. This is something that I've embedded as a tool for myself that I haven't taught yet. but it works phenomenally for me to catch quicker moving markets that are already trending. And so what this does is you have your anticipatory validation candle, which hasn't confirmed in any way. These are my regular 2MAs. You have like your 10 and your 50, or your 10 and your 200, whatever you use. It doesn't matter. But you have this
Okay.
MA that's so far displaced from this, and you want to get positioned, but you can't. And so what this indicator right here is telling me, this other MA is telling me, if we get a push of average movement within something of it was some mathematical calculation for the difference of the MAs and some sort of shit. If we get this move, this is what the MA would apparently look like. And so now it becomes a valid anticipatory validation candle, but in theory, it's no longer anticipatory because there's already validation coming into the market. So it's like you have all these different things. And so with me, there's no proper way to explain this rather than to say, if market moves up to around here, I'm taking a buy, even if the MA is all
Okay.
the way down here, because I know I can actually show you an example back here. Uh, hang on, I gotta get my replay tool, but the zoom tool is being annoying as hell. So I gotta move it out. Okay, so if I go into replay to like this candle, and I'm gonna show you. Okay, so I wanna take a long over this high, but there's nothing valid yet. Look at where my other MA is at. It's down here. I want the market to go a
Right.
little bit further down south and then build up. Let's see if that happens. We play the next candle. Nothing happens. But what this is telling me right now, this MA, this pink or red, whatever, is telling me that if the next candle opens somewhere around the high of this range or within this region, now this one's going to be a valid anticipatory validation candle. Now, if we play forward, lo and behold, as we start to push up higher and higher, look at what this MA starts to do. It starts to shape to the form of this candle. And as we play further and further and it goes further up, this becomes more and more of a valid entry. And so what happens with a lot of people is they go hindsight and they go, oh yeah, I definitely would have gotten this entry, but let's go see what that looked like on the live market. On the live market, your MAs were all the way down here. Hang on, play for the next candle. Your MAs were so far displaced. What do you mean you would have caught that? And this MA is telling me that if we open somewhere within this range, then these are going to shape up and give us a valid entry. So let's see what happens. Look at what happens. After the fact, yeah, I definitely would have taken these entries, but during the market, your MAs are so far displaced that you're like, no, you know? And so it's
Right.
that the whole idea, like the further it pushes up, the more of a valid buy stop it becomes. And so a lot of people mess up because they'll go hindsight. Like indicators, most indicators are lagging indicators. Besides this
Mm.
one, the one I just showed you, this one is the opposite of a lagging indicator. It predicts the future price action or movement, and then it can tell you,
Yeah.
you know, what's going to happen, and then you can swap it. And then this is telling me if this moves this much, oh, this is phenomenal. Actually, it's setting up whatever the market this is. Okay, so this is telling me
Was it fractional?
if this were to move this much, this is what this MA is going to look like. Do you see the difference between these two MAs? And so
Yeah.
this is telling me at this point, if the next candle opens somewhere around here, I'm valid for a long right over this high. And there you go. Like it's that simple. So now as
Wow.
I go and look at this market without all that fancy shit and I just look at it raw, because I traded raw. Like I notice I don't have my colors on or anything. I just have a couple of MAs on there. And then
Uh-huh.
I just look down here and it tells me, oh good, there's enough money in the market to support your it's like $1,200 investment. There you go. That's how much I risk per trade on my evaluation account. As we push higher and
Okay.
higher, so these next few minutes, if we push this high, I'm taking that long, and it's that simple. But I'm gonna take it on another account, so um, that way I don't ruin my evaluation or whatever. Shit, this thing is still pumping.
I know, dude. I'm sitting watching it on my screen too, and I'm just,
Dude,
yeah,
I
this is
was
cool, dude. I
scared.
like your style a lot. I like it. It seems a lot more chill than like I'm just so used to like seeing people and myself do the seconds time frame, and I know we talked about that a little bit before.
I'm gonna tell
It's just
you from
it's
personal
just so much anxiety,
experience.
bro.
No, it's not even that. Oh, I agree with you. It's anxiety, but it is the stupidest thing you can do because I've done it. I did it for like 2 years. A 1 second double fractal MB type shit. Like where I'd go down here, go on my 1 second, and then dude, I had a whole system about it. I still have all my data collection modules on it, and it works very great. But this is what I learned. You're gonna have a very low win rate with giant RR returns, so you kind of have to get lucky to hope and pray that you don't get stopped out here. And then it, for some reason, manages to run 50 RR, and then you take your profit. But then Number one, you have to base it on the fact that you can make proper judgment under a lot of pressure. That is the biggest thing. Keep in mind, it's moving at 1 click per second. So if your market's moving
Yeah.
like this, ready? 1, 2, 3, 4. Shit. Should I get in? It's moving. It's moving. Okay, I got in. I got in. And then it's like the pressure. I understand that. The other thing, it is not going to work. You can make it work if you're getting those giant runners, but it is much better off from my experience if you start off on a higher time frame. 5 minute, even the 1 minute is high enough. 1 minute to five
Mhm.
minute to 15 minute, because you're setting yourself up for a long-term kind of success framework where no matter if you're between the values of $0 to about 5 million, you're good for scaling. Now, once you get past the 5 to $15 million mark, it's going to be very hard for you to want to get involved in these markets, because if I turn on the indicator, you'll see why. There's not enough money to support your market needs. So if I go to NQ on the 20, now let's suppose you're trading with a 5 to 15 mil account. I'll just add a 0 to this. Now the market can't support your move for half the move, right? Only on these giant
Right.
moves can the money support your move. And so I prefer to start out, like I started on 1 second time frame. It worked until it didn't, until you scale big, until you change firms that don't have zero spreads, until something happens. And now you're kind of dead in the water because your system was so refined on markets that can change very quickly. Like if you go to the 1 second, you're going to get giant trends that last entire days. Like if we look at this overall trend, this trend lasted, well, shit, overall minutes, not even fucking days, dude. So you're gonna get trends
12
that
minutes.
go from bullish to bearish, short-term bearish, and then like it switches so fast on you. Like this entire thing was bearish, and in 21 minutes you change your entire trend to bullish. Like it's instilling a very bad framework of mentality in your head where it's gonna mess you up pretty bad in the long term once you start to scale. And so you see all these YouTubers that are trading on the lowers, like they're scalping shit. I know people that do this, and they're capped at a certain amount of success. You're gonna really mess yourself up if you're trying to like scalp this. You get your nice long, and then it's just not for me. It's simply put, with my personal experience, I've done this before, and there's a reason why, even with limited capital, even under 100 mil, uh, I'm trading higher time frames. I used to trade the 1 hour entries, and dude, I don't even have a 200 mil account for that. So like, why the hell would I want to be entering on the hourly? And it's just because of the time aspect of it. You have time to process things. You don't have to rush into things. And so
Yeah.
even on the 5 minute, this is like the perfect time frame for me, because on the 5 minute, I had, if we want to calculate this very, very quickly, I had approximately 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I have 25 minutes to decide if this is an entry worth taking. And so I'll step back up and see, okay, is this good? I had 25 minutes from the time I knew I wanted to take an entry to the time I got tapped in. That's more than enough time. And that entire time I
Yeah.
woke up, I saw the market, I woke up at 6:30. Where's 6:30 at? I woke up right here in between these two candles, and I saw this setup, and I said, I want to take this. So I got up, I went to shower, and while I was in the shower, I set up my trade. Like I had my computer there and everything. And as I'm driving, 25 minutes later, my entry got tapped. So
Yeah.
5 minutes is
That
more than enough time to 25 minutes is more than enough time to know whether you want to get involved or not, versus five
that's a
seconds.
perfect system, bro.
Huh?
Oh,
Oh, we got cut out. All right, guys, I'm going to pause real quick and then we'll continue this very briefly. Uh huh. I totally
so
forgot to resume the recording, but now it's resumed. So, what we're doing is we're going through just markets. I just did a very quick, brief top down, reviewed analysis on markets, and I saw that we were looking at oil earlier and it ended up kind of going without us, but that's okay. Um, Come a market close, usually I don't like to get entered so late into the market because my average trade lasts about 3 hours. And so I don't want to enter within 1 hour of rollover or market close in this case. So, and then we jumped into Forex. So now I'm going to do a very, very quick top down through all the Forex pairs and seeing if there has been any opportunity. You can see I highlighted some things here earlier. This was our profit target that I analyzed a while back. And of course, we just kind of blew through it. So looking at the daily, yeah. So on USD CAD, what time was this? Yeah, 7:20 in the morning. There was no red news. So you got an entry over this high. This wouldn't have been an entry, a valid entry, because it's your first strength candle. So I would have waited for this validation. This would have been your entry. Probably got a nice. I like to map them out just to look over time to see what I could have gotten. ATR at this given time was about 8.6. So I could scrunch this down to about 1 ATR, 8.6. There you go. That would have been your entry, and you would have probably taken a break even or 50 or 70% partial, depending on your partial rules. So okay on UCAD, nothing too crazy. Look at EU, nice little runners. I don't know what I have highlighted here. Oh yeah, this was for another call. Okay, so 4 hour. Yeah, no opportunity on EU. Probably not on GU either. Yeah, it's a little too wiki for me, so nothing on there either. Gonna delete everything. I don't know what I've been looking at here. Yeah. So this has been my analysis. Once again, this was for another call, but you're just kind of sidewaysing. If you look at the 4 hour, no opportunities here for you. Same here, no opportunity. We do have red news coming up here in 4 days, so next week. If you're ballsy, you definitely could have traded this, but I would never trade a market condition like this, like gambling at this point, because it could have gone up at any point, and you just chose to buy that one time that it did go up, unless you have an edge built around it. Nothing on GCAD. Looking at GCHF. Nah, bro. I don't know. It's one of those things where you kind of got lucky if you did make money on this. Look at this wiki market, chopping back and forth. Like even if you took an entry here, you would have taken a break even due to that, and then you get re-entered, and probably a break even due to this. Like I don't know, just not for me. Nothing on this market. Potentially something setting up on EuroCAD, but if we jump down lower, we'll see how illiquid it is. There's a long over this high if you're fucking insane and on crack, but I would not recommend this trade. Like you can just see it in the market condition, chop back and forth. You got to be on some hardcore drugs to be trading something like that. Looking at UJ, actually UJ is not half bad. Entry right over this high. What time was this? 8 in the morning. The only thing that was lead me astray is this first strength candle isn't really strength, and this would have been another valid entry right over this high. But once again, I just haven't traded Forex, so I don't know. It's been a while since I touched Forex, so yeah, if anything, I'd move UJ up here because it's setting up quite nicely, and then all these other pairs are probably just shit. Yeah, shit. Another long potential. Nope, not taking anything. So skip. Not touch for a while. Nope, I'm not. And then all the other exotics, just fuck them. I'm not doing that.
Yeah.
I want to see how oil's doing. Bro, you've got to be shitting me. And I told you I might take a long on this thing, and then it just
Hilarious.
went. I mean, my chart's flipped. I might also add a feature right here, right below this, where it tells you if your chart is flipped. Because I notice a lot of people like upload photos, and then people get confused because they're like, "Wait, his chart's inverted."
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I just saw that today, so figured to add that cool little feature just so people know right off the bat.
Yeah, that'd be convenient. No confusion.
And then this is the other long I had highlighted earlier. It did go,
And it's
but
going.
not
Going.
like these markets are gonna go. It's just is it smart for you to get positioned into them? And half the time it's not. So it's about knowing when it's smart. Like even right now on whatever this asset is. Yeah, it's a little rough. I probably wouldn't trade this. Or I'd trade it, but with minimal risk. What asset is this? Oh yeah. We just added it. So yeah, I don't know what you want to talk through. I can show you some examples. I don't know if you have questions. We can go through. Like yesterday, I got on a call with someone else and we broke down the entire what you would call a change of momentum or accumulation phases. So why I choose to stay out of price action like this and what it means. So I kind of already touched on that and I uploaded the most recent video on that. But I don't know if you have more specific questions or what it could be.
No, I mean this was a good walkthrough. I just wanted to see what you mostly looked at when you were on your validation before you would take your 5 minute entries. I wanted to see what like how much strength you were looking for and um and yeah, just your criteria as to like when you want to enter. Because I'll go through your videos and figure out like just like the little niches and things like that. But I do like your style of trading. It just seems more chill. And yeah, I was just curious about that stuff. So
Yeah, I actually switched it up quite a bit. It's like I've come so far from all the shit I've learned that my system is so different but so unique, like so similar yet so different from everything that I've learned because I took concepts from so many different people that taught me over the years. I'd read textbooks, I'd do all sorts of shit. I went through all my notes one day and I thought, okay, with all the knowledge I have, how can I define a system that unifies everything I know, but in the simplest way? Where if I were to teach someone, they don't have to understand, like you right now don't have to understand the inner workings of Wyckoff. I remember earlier in my
yeah.
day when I was reading those textbooks, I'd be, highlighting the PSY, the last test of
Hmm.
support, like all those little points, the
Yeah.
um, LPS. Like I don't even remember what half of that shit means, but I go through my notes and I'm like, yep, that's how that works. And so if you were to ask me to internalize what's actually going on in this market, and you were to ask me why did this market move the way it did, you have your spring, you have your test, your secondary test, your sign of strength in this case up here, or
Yeah.
yeah, and then your falling action, all that stuff, then I could internalize it that way. But because I went through and I built that foundation for myself, I no longer need to even label anything or understand Elliott wave. I studied Elliott wave and I understood the market moves in waves. So how can I show that? How can I teach someone that the market moves in waves without having to teach them all this fancy shit that people are taught? And so
Yeah.
because I see it as a distraction, if you want to teach someone something simple, don't dive them into the actual theory of it. Just tell them, hey, if you get into your car and you press the gas pedal, it's going to go. You don't need to know, oh, the pistons are firing at this ratio and all this crazy shit,
Right.
right? You just need to know this is what's
Right.
going to happen. And so I got caught up with the actual mechanics of the market, which is wonderful because I'm the kind of person that likes to know what's actually happening internally. So
Yeah.
like I'll
Me
go into
too.
like how does a car engine work, a motorcycle, what's a clutch, all this crazy stuff. Versus some people just want the, you know, for lack of a better term, a shortcut. And this is the shortcut. Yet it's kind of weird because it's not really a shortcut. It takes so much work, you know.
Mhm. The shortcut seems long, but it's really the shortcut.
Yeah, the fastest way is the longest way. That's what I've learned
Yeah.
in any aspect. Because if you try to speed some process of anything, like creating an indicator, and you try to speed that shit up, it's gonna come back and bite you pretty bad. Because something got messed up, and then you lost money or whatever it might be. So,
Right.
mm,
No, this has been good, bro. Are you planning on doing, I'm just curious, are you planning on doing any live trading or anything with the Discord?
so on the Discord right now, here I'll hop into it. Um, I don't know what I want to do with the Discord because it's just I'm gonna build it out very nicely, and I think every morning I'll record a quick little video. Oh, yeah, yeah, I think that's the best option. I'll record a quick 15-minute video every morning telling people what markets I'm looking at, why I'm looking at them, and then I think that'll allow people to look at the video as they come and go because not everyone can hop on a call every morning. Like, I'd be totally down to hop on a call every morning with you guys and walk you through, but everyone's in a different time zone. Some people have work, other people have school. Like, not everyone can make
Yeah.
it. And so, if anything, I could hop on a call with you guys, record that call, and then upload it for everyone to watch. But it'd be like a 15-minute call where I break down my market, and then throughout the day, I don't know if you guys can see this folder up here. I don't know how Discord works very well, so I've been learning a little bit. But um, I don't know if from your end you can see like the elite
Let me
trade
see.
ideas.
Let me see. Hold on.
Because
Let
I'm
me go.
thinking that like all the other channels, I create some channel where only I can post on it, and then throughout the day I'll post updates on, oh, I got tapped in on this or whatever it might be.
Yeah, so I can see the channel. I just can't. I don't have access to post anything. I can see your updates though. So
Okay, so I'm gonna delete everything and then we'll start from scratch. So you can't post anything, but you can see everything. Is that right?
yep,
Like I'm gonna type
yep,
something test.
yeah, I can see that.
Cool, cool. So Yeah, that's what we'll do. I'll create like a little section under text channels or whatever where you guys can like right now we have our trade talk. I'm going to have a little section where I post every morning video, just a quick little update of what I'm looking at in the markets. And then my late trade ideas where I'll follow up every day with updates. And then you guys can talk in the trade talk. And then I'll create something for like prop firms where I can create a quick little video where I break down the main top prop firms, US based. Um,
Oh, okay.
and then I can compare them and tell you guys from my perspective which one's the best. Like I know you look at other mentorships and they don't like talking about prop firms or they don't talk about anything else but what's in the mentorship. And I don't think
Yeah,
that's very nice because you're limiting the information that your students get to solely what you want to teach and not what they need to learn to become profitable. Because if there would have been a section in my early mentorships or in my textbooks that told me about prop firms and told me how they functioned and what they were and how to calculate risk and all that, it would have saved me easily months and months of time. But I had to learn it for myself. And so a lot of mentorships, they're like, they know prop firms exist, but they choose to ignore them. Like they don't elaborate on them. And then there's scams going on between them. And then like as soon as you bring it up, they ask you to not talk about it. And so, it's just,
yeah,
it's like hiding information. In
I agree with
psychology,
you.
it's called like selective information disclosure, something like that. I want to study psychology quite a bit. I do it on my free time. It's called strategic information disclosure, which blinds everyone else to the idea of prop firms. And so that's where they start failing. They're not failing in their trading aspect so much, but in the prop firm, and they get fucked over on that end, but they don't realize that's like the key to open up the door to get money. And so they're stuck in this endless loop where they think they're doing something wrong, but in reality, they didn't realize the prop firm had this hidden consistency rule that if you don't close your trade, that's making more than half of your profit, you're going to get fucked over and then you have to restart.
Yeah,
And you're in this endless loop where people are failing challenges because lack of knowledge, not lack of experience.
right, right. I mean, that makes so much sense. I think that'll be good to have a prop firm section. Just be able to talk openly about the industry
I'll
and
have
educate
to
everybody.
talk to lawyers about this because like once you open up a community like this, there's so much that goes into it. Like you can't give financial advice, so I can't tell you guys to buy or to sell. I have to give disclaimers and all this fucking shit so I don't get sued. So I have to be very careful with that. Um,
Right.
so we had this entry, and now we're getting another entry right over this high. Let me look at the full analysis here. On YM,
Mm.
we're a little extended now, but yeah, you're getting another potential long over this market, aka a sell. So yeah, if you're a crackhead
What
once again, you can take this, but yeah, I don't
what
know.
is your what is your rule with I know that you take is it 70% off at at your first partial?
Yeah, yeah, that's how I do it.
So, so what is your indicator that you want to take your first partial? Like, is it 3RR? Is it just the way price is moving throughout the trade? I'm just curious.
Generally, like earlier today, if I go to the trade that I caught on NQ, my very, very first partial would have been here. I actually had mapped it out, but by the time I was going to get my first partial, I just closed the entire trade because I was already enough in profit. So my first partial I'll
Right.
set at the first sign of weakness. First sign of weakness, 70% off, right around here. And then
Okay.
let the rest run. And then what I'll do is I'll just kind of follow it with more major price. So you can step up to higher time frames. And right now, the rest of my position would be managed to this low at 25R or 26R.
Oh, okay.
So the remaining 30%. 30% of your position isn't too much. And so I'd rather take a break even on 30% than to not even take a partial, if that makes sense. So at least
Yeah,
I'm
totally.
securing. So I will not take a 70% partial if I'm under 4RR because I want to secure at least more than 1RR from that partial. If I don't secure more than one, then it doesn't even, there's no point to taking a partial. I'd rather just take a break even or a loss at that point.
Yeah,
Because then
that makes
you're
sense.
you're kind of working against your own numbers where now you're negatively affecting your um what's the expected return. So
Oh, okay. Yeah,
yeah, expected value, sorry.
yeah. Okay,
But
that makes
yeah, you
sense.
got any questions? Anything you want to work through? We got a little bit of time. I'm still gonna be here working, so I know I'm gonna be really really busy this weekend. So any questions you
Okay.
have, If you want to work through a quick little back test, if you want to walk through price action, see different markets, look at like,
Yeah, yeah, let's do that. Can we do like a walkthrough or a back test? Anything just small?
yeah, yeah. Let me plug in my computer real quick.
Okay,
Give me just 1 second because my computer's about to die.
okay, sounds good.
But yeah, I kind of created this community because it gives me something to do. Like when you're trading all day, it gets pretty boring. So I'm just like, you know what?
Yeah.
I don't know if you ever read the Complete Turtle Trader book, but I read it, and that's this guy. I think his name was Richard Dennis. I'm not 100% sure if that was the guy, but he took a ton of like guys that had never traded before, and he's like, I'm gonna make these into the most profitable people ever, and he did. Some of them were making 100 million plus per year.
Is that what you want to do with your community?
No, that's too much effort. But like, it's nice to have people around.
No, it
Um,
really is. Honestly, so before I got into trading, I was a full-time musician, so I always had people around me.
what did you play, by the
Um,
way?
Guitar.
Oh, okay. I used
Yeah.
to play
I,
violin.
that's awesome. That's dope.
Yeah,
No,
yeah.
I miss actually like super dedicated to playing instruments. But as soon as COVID hit, it kind of took everything away from like trying to actually make music. And then my scene in music changed. And so I got into trading and I like the freedom aspect of trading where you can, just make a good amount of money and you can work in the morning time. Even just like today, for example, with your trade, you make a couple $1,000s in the morning and then you can do whatever you want. The thing is, though, I don't have like a lot of other things to do with my life, and I don't have a lot of other people to talk to about trading in Utah.
Oh, you're in Utah, huh?
Oh yeah,
That's the beautiful thing about a community is I'm in Colorado, so we're not too far off. Um,
oh that's pretty close.
yeah. Did you get any snow last week? We got pounded with snow.
Yeah, yeah, we got tons.
But yeah, it's hard to find people that not only know trading but can operate at your level.
Yeah,
There's this guy in my hometown that has his own trading community and he does options. And I went to go look at his content and I'm like, what the fuck is this guy teaching? He knows absolutely nothing about what he's teaching, but he's selling
yeah,
like this whole mentorship and he's got like two Lamborghinis on the Lamborghinis. He's got like his logos and people are like, "Ooh, who is this guy?" And then they go
yeah.
sign up for his community because they see the flashy car and it's just like, bro, come on. Like anyone could do that. And I feel bad for those people because deep inside they know they really can't trade and they're just selling a dream or a lifestyle. And I could not be happy with myself doing something like that. Like I would just rather die than to sell someone false dreams and promises for my own success.
Yeah, man, that's exactly how I am. I'm not about being false about anything. I just, I don't know, being your truest self and trying to do something like that gains way more success than trying to
And it
sell
feels
something fake.
cooler when you actually, start making money. It's like, holy shit, I did this, Like I don't have to like all these OnlyFan girls that have to go sell shit to make money. It's like how bad do you
Mhm.
think they feel? At the end of the day, it's like shit. They had to degrade themselves that much to make money versus when you dedicate yourself to getting a degree, to getting a job, to doing something good with your life, doing research, whatever you might be doing. It just it's a whole nother level that a lot of people will never experience because they never stick to something for I've been doing this for 8 years now. Imagine someone that would have given up by the second year. I didn't see money
Yeah,
or profitability come in until the 6th year ish. So you could just
I'm on year
imagine.
two right now, actually.
Really.
Yeah, I'm not giving up though. I love this industry. I've never been more confused and frustrated about learning a job, but it's like an ever-changing puzzle, and I can't like stop
It's
thinking
so
about Forex
awesome,
and
bro.
trading.
I
It's so
remember
fun. It is so much fun to trade. Like I love it so much.
I remember it was like 4 years ago or something. I would wake up at night having night sweats, dreaming about the candles, dreaming about setups. Like it was the worst thing
Oh
ever.
yeah.
And it went on for a long time. I'd just wake up at 2 in the morning and I'd have to hop on the
Uh-huh.
charts to go look at some example that I had seen days ago. And it's just,
Uh-huh.
dude, I couldn't sleep. Now, after so much data collection, it's like I have the entire market pretty much mapped out. Like I have a really good psychology behind it where I'm no longer bothered by it. Like but dude, when you first start off, there's so many questions in your head, and some people like I'm wired a little differently where I need answers and I need them like now. Otherwise, it's gonna
Me
drive me
too.
crazy. A lot of people in today's world, they're just like, oh, like I'll go check it out tomorrow. Like it's okay. And I'm over here like, dude, what the fuck? Like what just
Uh-huh.
happened? Um, and
Uh-huh.
so I'd be up till
Me
four
and
or
you
five
are a
in the
lot
morning,
alike
bro.
that way.
All the
We're a
traders,
lot alike
bro,
that
all the
way.
successful traders have to be that way to make it, right?
Yeah,
Because if you don't have this nature of inquisitiveness, you're not going to pursue the market, and at some point you're just going to fall off and be like, I don't really care anymore. Um,
absolutely.
I know Tesla. I had some person ask me about Tesla, and they're like, "Hey, I think I should short it." And I look at it, and I'm like, "Dude, what?" They didn't know anything
Not
about
successful.
trading,
No.
but I'm just like, no.
It's so funny. I'm still part of like my retail. There's like one retail group I'm a part of still because it like got me into trading. So I like follow that mentor. And he is all about like patterns and shapes. So he'll talk about head and shoulders and wedge patterns and all this stuff. And then like a couple days later we'll go by and he's like, well, we got stopped out of this trade because I thought it was gonna go bearish, even though the trend was like super bullish. And I'm sitting here now after learning how the market moves with Anton and just the last like year and a half I've been part of Mental Fact. It's pretty funny to like listen to other types of traders just kind of be like zone to zone traders or pattern traders and
Some
really
of
just
them, I there's a reason why I don't look at that content, and believe it or not, some of them doing support and resistance type shit can make so much money. And it only works on specific types of markets because if you go look at like NQ and you go on the daily, this market never stops. It's been going up
yeah
since its inception, besides like this short period. And it wasn't back and forth, it was down. Versus chop, you don't see any chop. Now you go like a market like your USD, I make this example quite often. Why is this market just ranging? Like, there's something fundamental that's different about this market. And there's reason why people do
right
make money trading this shit. And it's because of this very
yeah
reason. Now, the very fact that they don't know why this works, but it works, it shows to their lack of commitment into trading. They're just like, oh, I just buy here, I just sell here. I don't really care about the
right
dynamic. Versus me,
yep
I went through to investigate, and it's like, okay, well, governments, these are currencies. This isn't some sort of index that's going to project a given market. This is an actual two currency pairs based. So you have your US dollar and you have your euro. Well, you start to ask yourself, well, what would happen if you had the same trend as as you just saw on YM or NQ? Well, then that just means one currency is infinitely powerful, which would outpower everything else. And then, like, what's left? You know, there's no
right.
exchange between them. It's just one buys up all of the other, and then you're done. Versus here, governments are controlling interest rates, presidential elections, government bank lending rates, inflation rates, all this shit is contributing to this. And so governments will control their currency throughout the year based on specific metrics they want to meet. If they know they're going to buy up a lot of oil, for example, they might want their currency very strong. Versus if they want import rates to blah, 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 blah. And then you have this changing market dynamic where, yeah, now support and resistance makes sense. But if you were to try this shit here and you take one sell here because it hit the top, and then you have like your stop loss somewhere, dude, you're done. Period.
yeah
And
yeah
so people don't understand that's like the main reason why markets will. I do understand why some people can get attached to a specific market. Like they'll be like, oh yeah, I love YM. I love YM because of this very reason. Oh, but then they change to a different market condition and then yeah. So hey, I do have to run. I am so sorry.
no, no worries.
So,
I appreciate the
we'll
calls.
keep in touch. I'll get this posted for you, and then I'll stay posted on the channel to send you updates.
Okay, sounds good. Have a good
Alrighty,
day,
brother.
man.
Hey, you have a good one. All right.
Thanks.
All right. Stay safe. Bye bye.
Easy.